what's up everyone? I'm Deanna Reese Williams and I'm going to be doing a little day in the life video. I just wanted to hop on, do a little intro for this video. I've been editing a day date and just basically how do I balance life being very goal oriented and also being a wife. I've been married for 19 years this coming March. And so as I was editing, I was like, girl, you cannot open this video with you just walking and then having all this B-roll of stuff. So this is my formal intro. Welcome for those of you that are brand new to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you have goals that you're setting in your life, or maybe you're a busybody such as myself, then you might appreciate the content that I create. But enjoy my day date with my husband, and then you're going to catch another clip towards the end where I actually do some talking, and then I'll do some more live shots of my day in the life or day in the week of how do I balance life as a spouse and as a goal-oriented entrepreneur, all those things. Welcome to the channel and thank you for watching. Well, I'm always consistent. I always get the Californian, but now I'm like, maybe I want something different today.
Everything's really good. If it sounds good,
I know, and I feel like we're kind of regulars, but I'm like, what would I want different? I don't know.
have you ever tried the chorizo with rancheros or the river rancheros? It's really good. These here. This
No.
is just the only difference between the two is those are scrambled eggs with green sauce with no meat and your choice of sauce, but we can mix that up too.
No. It's like I like the savory of y'all's meals, and then I like the sweetness.
Yes.
You go first.
I can give you a couple minutes.
Yeah, give me just a minute. Thank you.
Guys are talking. I'll be back over, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to share with you all, my husband and I just did like a really fun day date. It's Valentine's Day weekend, and honestly, like, it's not that I don't like Valentine's Day, it's honestly kind of very commercial. But it doesn't mean I don't like to get some flowers or chocolate or whatever. Whatever he wants to give me, I'm not going to complain. Let's be real. But I think I mentioned in one of my lives, like, how I feel about Valentine's Day. And I don't really have a whole lot of expectation around it. And it's partly because our anniversary is in the month of March. His birthday is in April, and then my birthday is in May. So it's like, it's a lot of celebrating and anyways. But thank you all for watching today's vlog. We went to brunch, and then we also went to the movies. We saw Flight Risk at a Cinemark movie theater. It was good. It was an hour and a half long. It wasn't a terrible movie, but I thought even though this is a vlog, you guys that are watching the channel, you guys know that I'm very goal oriented, and you're probably curious, like, how do you balance the things and be ambitious and be married as long as I have? I will have been married 19 years in March, and we've been together for 20 years in June. And I would like to say that we are happily married. We love each other. We've gone through thick and thin. And if I could write a book about it, we're actually like in a whole nother book at this point in our lives, AKA we are empty nesters. So I wrote some questions down just to kind of get the conversation going. So how do we balance our relationship? And I will say the last 5 years has been really unique for us, because 5 years ago In 2020, we were still parent guardians of our great niece. So we went through that transition of no longer being in that role, becoming empty nesters. We all know what happened in 2020. At one point, he went back to school. I went back to school. He got his MBA. I'm getting my doctorate. And he got laid off from a position, ended up landing a whole nother position. And then soon after getting his MBA, he ended up getting a totally different position altogether. And in the last 5 years, we have been working remotely or teleworking in some sort of way, in some sort of capacity. And if you would have told me 20 years ago, like, hey, y'all are going to be home like pretty much all the time together, I would have looked at you like you're crazy. Like, no, I don't believe that. Pay that million to someone else. But I will say, I've always enjoyed being around him. And not that I needed anything to confirm that for me, but it was just like, no, I can just go ahead and pat 21-year-old Deanna for making a solid decision. He's funny, he's witty, he's caring, he's loyal, he's compassionate, he's all of those things. And during these times of like just the way the world is, like he's just been a really solid, steady compass. And I would like to think that I've been the same way, but I'm not going to choose the words to describe myself from his perspective. But I also am going to be respectful that he may not ever come on camera to share that with you all. And that's okay. But for the past 5 years, we've just gone through some major transitions. And our biggest transition yet was moving. We moved into a new home in the last like month and a half. And would we have thought that we would have done this? I think in our minds, we knew we were going to move again. We just didn't know where the move was going to be. And the way that our careers have taken us over the last 5 years, it's kind of not forced us to anchor ourselves where we currently reside in Arizona, but it has kind of made us feel like, well, why would we move at this point? Between me working at the college and then him having his position and where he's at, it just doesn't make any sense. There's still a lot of great opportunity from where we live. And at the end of the day, it's just like, this is home, what we are considering home for us right now. And so I think it's just interesting. Shopping for a home was the first time that we ever shopped for a home together, whether we were renting an apartment or renting a home. This was our first time actually looking at homes together and figuring out like, what do we want? What would we want in this home? And being really clear and honest about it with ourselves to ensure that we're getting what we want out of it. Because it's not just him buying it or me buying it. This is an investment that both of us are looking into purchasing together. And so I think that's the biggest thing with the two of us, is that we've always had solid communication about what we want. And we've always been honest and very clear about that from day one. So I think about like our first date that we had nearly 20 years ago, which is crazy to say. I was very clear. I'm like, look, I need to finish school. I was clear about school. I was clear about being goal oriented, and I had these dreams for myself. And he too was the same way. And a lot of why I feel like there's ebb and flow. And there's times where things feel very 50-50. And then there's times where it feels 30-70 or 60-40. Like it depends on where we are in life. And even though I was like, I have to finish school, I have to get my degree, one of his goals was that he wanted to serve in the United States Army. And for me, joke was on me, because God was like, girl, I know you made a deal with yourself and you said you weren't gonna like marry anybody that was in the service. Joke's on you. You're gonna fall in love with this guy and he's gonna say, hey, my dream is to go into the Army. And you're gonna be like, okay, fine. Not that it really went like that, but it kind of low-key did. And that was a huge compromise. It was a huge compromise, but I knew that it was something that he really wanted to do. And he was so supportive of me going to school and paying for school out of pocket, like all of those things, that it was like, how could I say no to this dream? You know? And so my only compromise was like, can you go reserves so then I can finish school here? And he did. He went reserves for an entire, close to an entire year. And then, of course, like what, 2008 came, 2000, yeah, 2008 came and everything was like crashing by the end of 2007. So we knew him going active duty was going to be like the right decision for us. But making that decision required us to be apart. So we've had parts of our marriage where we have been around each other 24/7, like we have been for the last 5 years. And then we've had these times of our marriage where we have literally been apart for an entire year. And that's thanks to the Army life. That's just what it was. I had to hold things down here while he was holding things down wherever he was. And we found a way to make it work. I'm not going to say that our relationship is perfect because we certainly have endured our own challenges and different circumstances of life. But the main thing is that we've always kept those lines of communication open. We always have tried to make sure that we put each other first, but also recognizing that we're both individual people with goals. And we've always, I think because our relationship was based off of like us, but also like us having these individual, very distinctive goals and figuring out like how are we going to get there? How are we going to navigate these things together? And so, to my point, he was serving in the military for over 8 years. And he's like, wherever you want to move, I will follow you because you've literally followed my dreams for the last 8 years. And so here we are in Arizona, and this is what I chose. And I'm just very thankful that he just understood, and he's like, it's fine. I will find a job. It's not an issue. Like, and that's what it's been. So let me make sure I've addressed all of my questions. But what does balance look like for us right now? Balance for us is meal prepping, so one person doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I got to cook all the meals and I got to wash all the dishes. And for us, it's like he typically cooks breakfast. Not that I don't cook any breakfast, but he will normally meal prep some breakfast stuff. And then I typically handle dinner. That's finding balance. Because I'm like, if you don't have to worry about eating, then we're good. The other balance would be like, who's cleaning what? Who's putting things away? Like, how do we tag team to ensure that everything is getting done in a reasonable amount of time and not feeling like one is doing more than the other? Not saying that there aren't seasons of our lives where it feels like I feel like I'm doing more or he feels like he's doing more, because that happens. And that's where I feel like that 40-60, that 70-30 can play a role. It's not always going to be 50-50. And I think, in my opinion, I think sometimes we want it to be 50-50, but that's just not the reality. And so balance is like making sure, to me, is making sure that we can both feel like home is peaceful, it's safe. There's a lot going on around us when we leave our home. So when we come back, I want to make sure that it's a space where it's like neither one of us are feeling stressed. That's my main thing. And I know he feels the same way too. I'm like, the fact that when I'm driving home Wednesday nights, this man will be like crashed out on the couch and he's like, but I'm awake. I'm still here, because I know that you're driving home, type of thing. And so that to me is like just caring so deeply about someone that you want to make sure that that other person is good. And you take that extra step, you do the extra mile just because you care about that person so much. So that's how we try to find a way to have a balance. I will say that there's parts of him that can be really type A about certain things, but he's pretty chill for the most part. But y'all already know I'm extremely goal oriented, so I don't need to say anything else. But I will say, in the relationship, it's like I create the plan. Like, we talk about the thing, and then I'll create a roadmap. And then I'm not going to say he does all the tasks. That's not fair. But if he was here, he would be like, and I feel like I do all the work of be task, but we get there together. And I think a great example of this is like, I realized early on in our relationship, probably 10 years ago, like he's just like, I want to make sure I want to pay all the bills. And I'm like, that's great, because I feel like when I have to sit down and pay bills, it drives me nuts. I love calculating the numbers, writing out the budget. I love all of that. But I don't actually want to go to the websites and pay the things. I do it because I need to and I have to. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't like this task, but it's a task that he really enjoys. And so it's like, we always talk about finances at least once a month. I write out the budget for the month, and then from there, I hand him the binder and I'm like, you can pay all the bills, just make sure you balance the books, type of thing. But that's to me like a good example of like working with strengths. Like, this is my strength, this is his strength, and together we're collectively like making sure something gets accomplished. So I hope that helps to give another perspective. All right, how do you support each other's goals without feeling disconnected? Listen, I Charles is the type of person, he is really funny. Like, he's a very funny person if he allows you to see that side of him. That's step one. But two, he can be serious, but he will go along, not to get along, but he will go along because the plan is perfectly fine to him. But if he says something, you need to be attuned enough to know, like, wait a minute, I might need to retrack and kind of think about what I'm doing. And I say that because, as goal oriented as I am, sometimes it takes that person that's not that he's not goal oriented, because he is. We wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for who he is and who I am as individuals. But he has a way of just being like, being easy about things, but at the same time, like, I should say being steady, but at the same time speaking up when he needs to. Like, he doesn't mind, like, I could rattle off all of my goals right now. And he's like, all right, that's cool. He's probably not going to say anything unless there's something in the goals that he's like, I don't know, D, you probably want to think about that. And he wouldn't even say, you probably want to think about that. He would probably actually say what it is that he wants to say about the topic. But in terms of not saying and making sure that we don't feel disconnected, it's, it's kind of hard to describe, because I just feel like it happens very naturally for us. And we've been like this from day one. From the time that I met him, he was just very clear about what he wanted to do in his life. And I feel like it's the honesty of our relationship that makes it easy for us to not feel like we're disconnected. And if we're feeling like we're disconnecting, I really honestly feel like those times when we felt that way, it's because we've allowed outside circumstances to impact us. So to me, I think one of the things we had to learn was having good boundaries with people. And then if we have good boundaries as individuals and collectively as a couple, then we probably are not going to feel that disconnected. That's been kind of really pivotal for us. It's just making sure that we're very clear on our boundaries, to make sure that whatever it is that we're trying to do or accomplish, like, nothing is distracting us and getting in the way of reaching that goal. But as far as just staying connected, I would just say, like, we do dates. I mean, and then here's the deal, like, we've been home together off and on for 5 years. I mean, it's as simple as like, hey, I'm making lunch. Do you want me to make you something? Or, hey, I'm taking a walk during lunch. Do you want to walk during this time? Or as simple as like finding a show that the two of us want to enjoy. Like, it doesn't always have to be about spending money, but more or less doing the smaller little things that like lifts those burdens from the other person. And that in itself is just like acts of service. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that we avoid being disconnected, but there's a lot of things that we've honestly just had to learn over the course of 20 years to get to this point, if that makes any sense. I hope I answered that question for y'all. And what is something we're excited to do together soon? You know what? I would say recently it was moving in to this new home. And for us to be together for as long as we've been together, it was like we're still pinching ourselves, like we can't believe we're here. We know that we deserve to be here. We've worked hard to be here, but at the same time, it's like it was just something we're really excited about. Not like traveling isn't fun. We travel all the time. We go to shows, we'll go to concerts and stuff like that. But this was different. And I feel like it was different because it was something we did together. And a lot of our years of just being a part of the military, there were a lot of times like we moved together per se, but we didn't get to like choose things. Like everything has always been based off of somebody else's calendar, somebody else's agenda. This move was a choice. We didn't have to move. And so that's what made it even more exciting. It was like, wow, we're really doing this. We're gonna move. And it's just we want to like hang out at home more. We want to be home before the street lights come on so we can just spend as much time in our home. And not that we didn't feel like our first home was like that, but it was just different. It was a different time 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was like, okay, you're getting out. What are we going to do? Where are we going? We had to make really quick decisions and to make sure that the decision that we were making was going to be good for all of us, myself, my great niece, and for him. And so this was very different. That's why I said I feel like we're in a whole new book, a whole new book, a whole new series, because this was about the two of us versus where we were 20 years ago. A lot of where we were 20 years ago and the things that we dreamed about doing, it's like we've surpassed those dreams at this point. Now we're like creating a whole new book. And when I think about us sitting on our balcony in our small 500 square foot apartment and all the things that went down in that apartment complex, shout out to Palisades apartment complex in San Antonio. But so much went down there at that apartment complex with so many dreams that we said we want to get out of Texas. We want to like really kind of see the world together. And we didn't have much. We literally had each other. It was like whatever we had to do, we were just going to figure it out. And I don't want to be like, I think we were the couple where like love like helped us push through. But I definitely think our deep love and care for each other helped us keep striving towards the goal of where we wanted to be, which was like his goal of going in the service, my goal of completing my education, me having a career, him having a career, to like be where we are now. It's kind of crazy to think about it, but I just thank my 21-year-old self and his 26-year-old self and us trusting each other to be where we are today. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the day in the life in a vlog of us going on a day date. And I hope just sharing some like intentional goal setting, but like from a relationship standpoint, and just hearing how I kind of balance all that out to ensure that like both of us feel like we're showing up in the relationship and not feeling like I'm only following his goals or he's only following my goals. Like we honestly just have to work together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to see if I can get some other shots of just different things. I should have taken pictures or at least filmed me cooking Valentine's night dinner, but I didn't do all of that because I wasn't feeling well the other day. So anyways, if there's another video clip afterwards, y'all will see it. If not, thank you for watching and I'll catch you guys on the next vlog. Goodbye, good night, and good morning. I'll see you guys later. Bye.